Welcome to the Rugby Bits podcast. We're here after week 2 of the Six Nations, the start of Super Rugby, and Varsity Cup. So I'm here with Kooks today. We'll talk about Scotland's annual Six Nations final win against England. Ireland taking it very late against Italy. The the sadness around Cardiff right now as France just absolutely thrash Wales. We'll talk new innovations in Super Rugby and into the Varsity Cup as well. Cooks, we hear a rumor that you only come onto the pod when Scotland does well. So is this going to be your only appearance for the next few weeks?
Yeah, how's it, guys? Well, Thala, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it'll be this. Come on this week, and then the next time you'll see me is 2028 Calcutta Cup when it goes back to Murrayfield. So that's pretty much my next scheduled performance, appearance. But it's funny because I didn't watch the game live, and I do obviously catch up on it. I was in George for a golf tournament, and I walked in and I saw the score, and I was like, quickly watching the score. I'm like, oh, Scotland after not playing really well, playing well against Scotland in the Calcutta Cup. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this movie before. I'm like, oh, this happened like last year that we took a break, and I'm like, oh, why should I be surprised? But also, I must say, like, as a whole, like, I must say, the Six Nations weekend it's such a funny contrast of like the Scotland England game because both, I mean, the only side that we kind of know and I'll sort of go into the norm is like France and Wales. Unfortunately, they haven't surprised anyone. But like Ireland's like, are they back now? Like, I mean, they look good in pieces, like compared to, I mean, like against France at first off. I mean, you're like, okay, cool, this is Andy Farrell might lose his job. But then you're like England now. England, like, oh man, the classic English meaning and the English narrative. Like everyone's like, just stuff these guys. You see, we told you these guys aren't great. You've been waiting for this. You've only been waiting for 12 wins in a row. Like we told you this is who they are. And then like Scotland is just like Calcutta Cup, he goes again, and like Italy is good. Italy, if I'm Gonzalo Quezada, like I'd probably still be half drunk and asking myself, how on earth do we lose that game? Like, if there's ever a time, like, how on earth did we lose that game? But listen, Six Nations did make me laugh. But quickly, I did promise that I'm not going to rant this year. But, I got on YouTube, just to, again, rewatch that Finn Russell masterclass again. And, when it goes rugby's greatest rivalry to start off with, I'm like, come on, guys. The oldest is fine. Guys, why don't people just want to accept that box and New Zealand is like the base rivalry? Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I love the Six Nations. I love when they call themselves the greatest tournament. I really do, because probably sometimes bar for bar last few years, it probably has been the greatest nation, bar the World Cup, and that's fine. Six Nations delivers each year. It's been fantastic. But come on, guys. Like, what did the Springboks and the All Blacks do? Like, there's 7 World Cups between them. Like, am I crazy? Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm just like then last week was like, oh, the World Cup final that never was. Where is it going to happen, Taylor? Where is this? Like, it's not like I'm like, guys, what is going on? Like, what have the Boks and All Blacks done to the people in the Northern Hemisphere? Like, I love the Six Nations, like as it is. I genuinely don't mind to call the greatest tournament, the greatest championship. Come, yeah, because I mean, it has been fantastic. But I'm like, the first week, the final, it never was. Yeah, because unfortunately, you get in the final, you got to win your quarterfinals, you got to win your semifinal. That's kind of how it works. And then now it's like the greatest. It's the oldest one. Happy as Larry. You cannot fight that. But I mean, aside Scotland, who basically just can't get over the pool, can't even also get out the pool stage in the World Cup. I mean, come on, man. Like, I feel like Ben Smith wrote the caption. I feel like he did. He wouldn't do it because then he'll rage bait himself. I don't know. I wonder who it was. Sorry,
You know,
Matt.
you can always
Was Matt
you
Williams.
can always trust Ben Smith to be behind these things. Also, it's a pretty weak rivalry. I mean, people have accused the Bucks and All Blacks for this as well, when the All Blacks were pretty much like securing the Freedom Cup for about 15 years. It's a pretty weak rivalry when Scotland basically are short the Calcutta Cup for what, 6 of the last 7 years. Like, it's not giving rivalry then, is it? Like, it's basically we know who wins because one team treats it as a final and one team doesn't, is always surprised that this team is going to play wide every time. And it's like, oh, wow, we didn't know that if we pick slow people or people that can't defend in the centers, we're going to get screwed once again.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's the thing. It's like it's always weird. Like I feel like England, I kind of forgets that like Scotland really wants to beat them. Like like it always like they always like get a shock. Like, oh yeah, these guys actually this is like their final. Like this Calcutta Cup matters. And like England's like, oh yeah, then by the time they wake up, they'll be like, oh crap, we in trouble here. Like, so let's go for a drop goal. We're down 65 points. And Spain, maybe let's see. Like I was like George Ford, my brother, trying to get close to a bonus point here? Like what are we doing? Unless I genuinely George Ford is in his contract to at least go for one drop goal now. Because I was saying them like, Abu George, my man, like this is not time for drop goal now.
Cooks, I mean, we're not that old, but didn't that happen with Yanni De Beer in the World Cup semi-final after he did the four against England? Like in the semi-finals, just spamming them against Australia, and he was just like, "Look, this is my move now. I need to, I need to give the people what they want."
The people want, the Sumi get five again the week before. The people want, I have to give the, I'm like, and that's what the favorite thing with the 99 Springboks. Like, as much as it was a great side, there's a point where you're just like, guys, your backs have got three phases once you cross the halfway line. That's all you guys are getting. Figure it out. If you can't score the three phases, you're in the pocket.
Yanni.
You get back in the pocket, and then we start again. And then there's two phases, and it's one phase. It basically goes back to three. Like those are the recipe. But Scotland, at least for Russell Cooks. The funny thing is, whenever Scotland like beats England, it's always like the same recipe. Pudding is good. Huw Jones is unbelievable. Ben White is leaving with some sort of a try. Like those three, especially like I mean, Kyle Steyn was incredible, but especially like for Russell and Huw Jones, they always like if you look at when like England, Scotland has been, I think bar the one game, I think Huw Jones didn't play when Scotland came back from where they drew. But like if Scotland tends to beat England, those two are one of the massive catalysts.
Yeah. And I mean, usually there's a Duan van der Merwe screamer as well. Obviously, he wasn't there. So Carl Steyn decided, I'll take up the South African slash Scottish hate for England and just deliver some pain to them. Yeah, I think I was gonna start there, Cooks. Like, it's so funny how unsurprising this is, although it's kind of surprising because of how bad Scotland was against Italy. And Scotland realized, hey, I know we want to play wide, but we should maybe take care of things like our set piece, win some lineouts, win some scrums, also take care of the aerial game, and then we can go wide. It's like they sort of put those two things together and they said, oh, when those things happen, it's easier for us to now, get it to our good outside backs, which this win, I mean, I always say I'm done with getting frustrated with Scotland, but they always pull me back. But this win made me even more frustrated about the performance in Rome because you literally could have just hung a few good aerial bombs in the first half against Italy and you probably win that game, especially in the rain. And then this week you do the exact same thing as the best aerial team probably in the Six Nations, and you won and you're surprised. And I bet you against Wales, they forget all about that. But it's so funny how this was England was in top four, 12 wins in a row. Like, they're on this march to Paris, basically, and the Six Nations decider. And they pretty much fall to their script of we don't have really any ideas when we fall behind. We don't know how to deal with pace and width and everything. And we tend to reserve our stupidest performance here. And Scotland also are like, well, we haven't really played well for the whole year, or for at least since the November test, but we can turn on our rugby brains and play to our potential in this one game. Like, I mean, I know like people always joke about script writers in sports. Like, we need new stories from this matchup now. Like, it can't be the same story for the last 6 years.
But at least if Scotland wins, like can they win it like 8-7? Like there's something different, like like just a forward dominant battle, or like a defensive masterclass. Because you're right. I mean, like you can pull up the other ones, and it's pretty much the same. Like with Scotland, I think like I don't want to say it because how many times have you said this after a win like this, where you go, okay, now the most important thing is what they do next week. Like they need to carry on. Like this is like, and I'm just like, you know what, like who knows? Because next week against Wales, they could go back to going. you know what, let's go to that thing where we lose a line out and then panic in the first 5 minutes and just go wide and go Finn do something for for the rest of the tournament. And that's a frustration I think with if you like England or like this weekend you're going like with Scotland, like I think the beat them, the narrative is quite simple, is that you just have to like sort of bully them up front. You're gonna have to you sort of slow
Mm.
them up front because the thing is they're not a side that's gonna sort of double down with their pack. They're just gonna just force it. And then and when you get them forcing it, that's when you can sort of pick them apart. But when you let their forwards get some sort of ascendancy, you know, and then like, you know, because like Finn does tend to kick well, but like now they've got a bit of ascendancy, then the aero game is going. Once those two gets going, it's very hard to stop score. Most sides, but especially Scotland, once their tails up, and once the tails are up, it's very hard to get. It's very hard to get them down. And I think you look at like some of the games against like the Southern Hemisphere sides, they lose. Look at like the All Blacks games that they've been in, like you know, the All Blacks, for example, have stolen wins at the end. Like, you know, Scotland would just, you know, how Damon McKenzie scored that try last year when where for example like Blair King just like I don't know how he doesn't take him in the corner. Like those things tend to go
Yeah.
against Scotland. Like so like if you're England, it's just one of those things where you just like, you know, with Borthwick, it was kind of strange to have a 6-2 with Finn Smith on the bench. You're probably thinking, oh, like you don't think you need an outside back? Like at least you have Marcus Smith there, you know, you got fullback covered, and then now you got to lose a winger. Now you're pretty much screwed.
Mm.
Now you're going like, all right, now basically like now we're down in the dumps because now basically like now Finn Smith's gonna come in. Now you got to rejig, and so like that's sort of the frustration when you look at when you saw that side. You're like, I just don't think you can go 6-2 without an outside back. I mean, you can go 7-1 with Will Leroux. I mean, the box proved that. I mean, but again, like that one guy is a mad scientist with a World Cup win. But I think that's where for me, like with England and you know, like England has had a good bench, and you know they have had that bomb squad approach. And listen, it's they did sort of lean into something, but unfortunately this weekend, sort of the bomb squad did struggle. But again, I feel like the damage was done by their starters. So now the bomb squad is all
Mm.
the best in the game, and sort of now and yes, most times they've been good. But again, I think you're right to tell with England, they've got to find a way when they do get behind in these games early, or finding a way to sort of stop the bleeding and not panic. Because once they still tend to panic now, and so and they sort of go away from what they do well. And like I'm not too panicked about England. I'm not. I mean, we talk about their side now. I'm not panicking yet. I still think it's hard. You can't just throw away a side that's coming off, that's basically lost one game in 13, like it's coming off 12 months in a row. So
Yeah.
we can't throw the baby out of the bathwater. So, but it is a frustrating one. I think if you Steve Borthwick of going, maybe this is him hitting one of the panic buttons with the changes he's made, but which is going to be interesting to see how they play. Like see, like with Henry Pollock starting, so maybe they want to go something different. Ollie Lawrence comes back in. I think that strengthens them up, but they just have to find ways when they go down because, for example, like now, if you're the Springboks who's playing, or you for France who's playing England, and you're going, okay, cool. So they struggle at the high ball, and you can get off of their pack. Interesting. Who are the two sides who's got arguably better packs and also got better depth? England's got good depth, but France and Springboks have got stupid depth. Like that's
Yeah.
so your England 6-2 versus France 6-2 in the box 6-2 is different gravy, especially the box. And if you struggle out wide and you're gonna deal with France, who's good enough to leave Damien Penaud at home, and the box have got Colby and Kirtley and Hooker and Moody out wide. That's not the place you want to be. That's not a weakness you want to have when, especially if you're chasing
Yeah.
two sides. And listen, again, if you're playing the All Blacks, there's Will Jordan there who's waiting for you as well. So that's not the kind of weakness you want to have when you were chasing if those are the three teams that are in front of you.
Yeah. I think, okay, let's focus on Scotland and just what the things that they did well. I think we've talked about the kicking game, but it was really well executed by White and Russell. Like they kicked really well. They gave their back three opportunities to retain the ball. Kyle Steyn was just absolutely fantastic in the air. They saw, I think they were the happiest, or I guess every team is quite happy to see Henry Arundell facing against them. And Steyn basically just bullied him in the air and was able to just set the tone from that. So They were really good with that, and they were also just good, like what we saw with France, I think last week in the game against Ireland. Like they have like two or three other players around the kick, chasing the chaser and ready to catch any scraps that fall from like the tap backs from the winger. So they're able to retain a lot of the kicks. And when you are able to take England away from their kicking game, you that's pretty much their way of building momentum so that they can play their strike plays, they can attack from there. So once you do that, it makes it very difficult for England to attack. So that's, I think, the big thing, number one. And then, I mean, the attack will get a lot of plaudits, but their defense in the second half was fantastic. It gave England so little opportunity. Like England had six clean breaks. I think they had 12, 22 entries, but they still scored like 1.6 points per entry. Like there's a lot of wasteful things from England. We'll get to that. But I think Scotland was just really good defensively. I think they've carried on what they were doing with Steve Tandy of we won't give you much space, we won't make missed tackles, we won't make it easy for you. We'll kind of spread the field. You'll have to work to break us down. So, that's obviously a good sign. Rory Dodge, I think, had his best game in a Scottish jersey. Like, what, three turnovers, like just an absolute menace on the park. Jamie Ritchie was good for the 40 minutes he played. Gregor Brown is becoming a really good player, like kind of from nowhere. Like he's just this young lock slash flank, and he's really contributed. While him and Cummings, I think, were top for tackles. They are working really hard around the pitch and we're giving England just no ways of getting back into the game. And then just the attack was good. They capitalized on England's mistakes. They scored 21 points while Henry Arundell was off the field with his yellow cards and red cards and whatever the case is. And pretty much all three tries that they scored at that time, or two of the three tries were, we know Arundel isn't here. We're going to stretch you left. We're going to stretch you right. And we know there's going to be space. Um, so I think they just really executed it well. Finn was great. Huplot were back to their best, unlike what they were doing last week. Dobie was really good at wing. I was like quite impressed with him. Kyle Steyn was obviously player of the match. Not too sure what Tom Jordan is fully contributing at fullback, but you know what? I'll let you cook, Tom. But yeah, like it makes like this was good. This was a good foundation for it. And I think they can still improve. Like, I don't know why they're putting Adam Hastings on the 23 when you have Tom Jordan in your 15. Like you already have a reserve fly half. Why do you have a substitute fly half? And they only played Hastings because I think Dobie got injured late. And then they're like, ah, we might as well play Hastings. So it's been two games. Hastings has been player 23 and he's played 5 minutes. So yeah, Gregor Townsend still hasn't been told that you can use your whole bench in rugby. I think he's still of the opinion, like, I think he thinks you're playing football, like you only have five subs. So we'll just have to tell him that Hastings is not a goalkeeper. You can actually use him as your substitute there. But yeah, I think Scotland's defense was great. They ruled the aerial game, they ruled in the rucks. They are not going to give you many like good opportunities or clean breaks. They're not going to do big dominant tackles or whatever the case is. They'll just make sure that you have to work really hard to, get over the advantage line to make that break, and then you have to try and capitalize from there. So they're just a really tidy team, and it's so sad that we're not going to see this team play like this again for probably the rest of the year. But yeah, I was just really impressed by Scotland and them standing up, and even the scrums to an extent. I mean, they should have probably got a yellow card for Ferguson, but Miller Mills and Skuman in the second half really stood up well to the reserve England pack. So most players, I think they had a really good game.
The breaking news is Gregor Townsend has signed his 10-year extension after when you win through Calcutta Cups, then you just basically never lose your job as Scotland coach. So no wonder you are smiling at the end of the game. He's like, yep, another year, boys. One more year. Probably called Franco Smith is like, brother, good luck there against Ospreys next year because I'm back. Don't you worry about me. Yeah, but I think for me, John, like when you hit the nail on the head on Scotland, I think it's so hard not to like go what's next because you've seen this before, and like they just for me need to figure out like how they can get this defense and like sort of like the workers, especially in the pack, to travel away from home. Like that's the thing. They've got enough tools. I just think all those things got an attack. Like you've got enough playmakers and ball makers to find 15 to 20 points away from home. But the problem is it's just that like the pack lets them down and they just find themselves in deep trouble, especially against a side like France, where once they get momentum, and Scotland has a way of conceding tries in a bunch. So as much as they can
Yeah.
score tries in a bunch, they can also concede tries in a bunch and sort of have a 10-minute mayhem to start. And then unfortunately, that's not what you want to do against a side like France, because you will find yourself 20 points down. But insane at the weekend. I mean, that was sensational. Kyle Steyn was. I felt like every time he got the ball, he probably beat about two defenders, and like I mean, like when he's playing like that, it's great to watch. But like, and again, it's such a workman-like performance with the guys like that. And the thing for me, what I always like about Scotland's backline is that it's just all playmakers. Basically, all guys are good at ball,
Mm.
and like Toby works hard. Carl Steyn, they're good in the air. They got good feet. They work around. They got good hands. And then from Finn, Huw Tom Jordan, they just got players. I mean, like that. I mean, that 40-meter pass that Tupulotu throws. I mean, that's what you want to see from a 12. I mean, you can go up and 1-2, loads it up. Richie goes over in the corner, or you can play behind his back. And Huw Jones obviously is away this and runs such beautiful lines. And obviously Finn. I mean, poor Tom Rubach probably thought he made the read of the season when he thought I'm going to catch Finn's ball and just flicks it one end. It's like he's probably sitting there like, I don't know, like what am I supposed to do? Like in my mind, he's going to catch it, and then he flicks it. Probably got thing is like that poor Toje is like, oh great, now I got a 1-on-1 with Huw Jones. Like, thanks, Tom Rubach. Like, how do we go from 2v2 to 1v1? Like, oh, because you just like you don't see the memo on Finn on the weekend. Just be careful if you're pressing. But yeah, like I think when Scotland is playing like that, it is good to watch. And I mean, like I said, the kicking game was like they've always had a decent kicking game, and being able to put pressure on sides that way and then be able to force them to kick it back. And then obviously once it's broken play, they're probably one of the best sides at going wide, wide. But the problem is when they're under pressure, they go wide, 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 and you're like, hey, you need to bash it up to someone. Yeah, so it was a fantastic win, and they do play Wales this weekend, which in hindsight probably is probably the best thing if you're a Scottish fan. Have the Welsh game. No, no, I'm saying. I mean, like if they go and flip and shit the bus now against Wales and lose that one, I'm like, at least let's have a game. Just for Scotland, get to 4 tries, even if you get there at 20 at 28, 20, 25. Just get there and leave, and then we'll deal the rest of the tournament afterwards. That's my motto. Don't ask too much from Scotland. Just go, guys. There's 4 tries that need to be scored there, and whether Scotland we win by a point, they just get our 4 tries, and then we get out of there, and then no expectations, and then we'll do no big debrief afterwards. Just get the 4 tries and go like, "Oh, guys, win the game, job done."
The problem,
Don't put
the
anything.
problem though with Scotland has been like, especially against Wales the last 2 years, they'll score 4 tries, it'll be 29 or 28-0, and then Wales does a comeback and then they win 28-27. Like, I think this has happened literally either the last 2 years or two of the last 3 years. So th- I I feel like this will also be the same, especially because they're playing in Cardiff. Like, I can see this being like last few minutes, Finn's pissed as hell that he has to play this whole game and that they sort of just edge it out against Wales, even though they had like a 20-point lead.
No, but it is one of those things that are like, I don't know. I just hate putting like expectations on Scotland. Like I really do. Because one, like I've been heartbroken enough by these guys. So North Wales, shame, man. Wales, it's so hard to say like they showed a bit of promise, but they could conceded 50 points. It's so hard. So like, but again, it's like for Scotland, like, you got Finn there. Maybe Hastings plays next week. Maybe Hastings plays, Finn gets the 4 tries in the first half, and you go, Hastings, it's your turn now. So you never know. But no, I think Scotland. I think for now it's like minimal expectations. It's almost like like a kid who's like a really naughty kid in class, and you're like, all right, today you're not going to destroy the class. Like you can talk, maybe just talk in class. Just no throwing your books around. Just like we're not gonna have a scissor incident like yesterday. You're just gonna talk, and that'll be a success. That's basically how Scotland's like. you're gonna get a bonus point. That's the goal. How we get it, we'll deal with it. The score, bonus point and win. If we win by a point, just get the win and the bonus point, and we'll be fine. And then we'll deal with it next week. You can't put too much in their heads. You can't think like bonus points will be third. Just go, just get 5 points and let's go.
Yeah. Let's turn to the England side of things. Cooks, yeah, there's a few problems. Let's list them very quickly. Your wing getting 2 yellow cards, not ideal. First yellow card, a bit rough, I think. So I think it's borderline if it's like a professional foul. It kind of looked like in the one replay we saw he did release, but obviously Amushakeli's closer than we are. And we didn't really see a nice close-up replay. So, okay, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But then the second yellow card is absolutely mindless. And then in the try where you're on the field, you're pretty much dawdling, where Ellis Genge is the one having to collect a kick from Finn Russell. Problem number two is for 3 of the 4 tries, there's forwards that are the last men for those tries. It's Guy Pepper, I think, for that Jamie Ritchie try. He's the last man somehow. It's Marutoja against Huw Jones. Not ideal. And there's Ellis Genge playing fullback to a Finn Russell kick. Again, not ideal. Then the other try is George Ford getting charged down from the most obvious drop goal attempt ever. And he's not trying to be deep. He gets easily charged down by Matt Fagerson. And the center combination did not work. Freeman and Dingwall got sucked in too many times, too easily. And, Hugh Belotto was able to play with them quite well. And then finally, selections. It's just, I think, generally a problem like the 6-2 with Finn Smith we mentioned. Also, I felt like both, except for the change for Curry for Underhill, he waited so long for bringing on the rest of his POM squad, as they've called themselves now. Henry Pollock can actually help to change the game. I don't know why you give him 25 minutes once the game's at 31-10. Like, at least try to give him like a few more minutes than that so that he can at least have a chance to do something. So yeah, it's going back to that thing of like Borthwick. I don't know if Borthwick is more lucky than he is skillful. Like he'll select a team, he'll get something from big win, and then he'll continue to select that team like that, like the loose forwards as we've seen, and this center combination. And then only until it doesn't work, then he's like, maybe I shouldn't have done this for so many test matches. So I think there'll be a lot of questions on Dingwall and Freeman, on Arundell, Pepper and Underhill. And yeah, I mean, we've seen now that there's a new team. The likes of Lawrence are back in. Curry is starting. Pollock is starting. Marcus Smith is back on the bench. So yeah, I think there's 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 probably an admission there that some of the things that they've been doing for the last few weeks haven't worked.
Yeah, and poor Ben Spencer, one of the scapegoats as well. It's just like people are saying like, what did I do? And yeah, I think that's a funny thing with Borthwick. I think he hit the nail on the head where he does sort of get a big win and then be like, I'm gonna reward this team for the next 7 games. Like, well, I mean, like horses for courses as well. Like, can you ever look and see maybe some like especially like when you have listen, I've got nothing wrong with Fraser Dingwall, but I'm like you see guys like Max Ojoma, who one getting in the side, like was arguably a better player. You got, also like I still think you got one of the best wingers in Tommy Freeman and he's a 13, and you have guys who can play 13. You know what I mean? Like so that's also been like that's like also been an interesting thing where you're going. But again, it's that thing of Thala, like like some coaches where it's like, well, we're winning 12 in a row, so you can't tell me we're wrong. But you're like, well, we're not fighting you. We're just going like, listen, but maybe you can carry on,
Mm.
you can carry on, win more games and win them more convincingly. And like, I don't have issues at all with the POM squad. I mean, I just had issues with the change of just having Finn Smith. It just felt like if you get yourself into trouble if you lose an outside back, and that's what happened. I mean, just touch wood. I'll say the voodoo on the 6-2 that Rassie Erasmus has, where we've hardly found us. I think like we may have found us in a situation like once where like
Yeah.
I think it's Ireland the second test in Durban, but like there's a muti there that Rassie is. Even when you had Front Steyn on there, like it just seemed to like work out. Like someone gets injured, a World Cup final, it's like Franco Mostert, and it's like, oh, here's Achies Neyman sort of fill his void. If Bongi goes down, I mean, maybe when with Dion Fourie when we pushed the limits with the Muti, but at least he's played hooker, but we never like lost a backline player. Like so, touch with Rusty keeps.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, or maybe so that Russ has gone 5-3. It's like, I feel like my luck is shining out. Like, I'm going to go back to 5-3. But I think the Palm squad for me with England, I did like the concept. I think it was becoming a strength for them. And I think you're right, where for me, there's no point in having 6 forwards on the bench and you're putting guys on with about 20 minutes to go. Like, if the game is going that way, like, you have to put them on 45th minute, get them on the field, get them as much minutes as possible, and try and find a way. Because at that stage, England, you're chasing the game. And
Mm.
you've got game breakers there on the bench who you want to have, where you want to have a Ben or with a Henry Pollard or Tom Curry, maybe start things down. So get those guys on and go, listen, we need to go find a way to get back in this game. And you got someone like a Ben Spencer who's probably a better attacking option and going, okay, cool, let's get him on. But that's where I think the selection for this weekend's game is interesting because now you're kind of going away from what's been working for the last few weeks. Because I mean, like with Curry and sort of Pollock starting, you go away from that spark they brought. Maybe like they want to start better. So that's going to be interesting to see how they go. But I mean, like I just don't panic and too much about England. Like the selection for me was a big thing, and then again for them, like they just like remember Borthwick's early sort of when he started and in post World Cup last year, like having just defensively, this is what they used to do. This is like it seemed like they'd sort of turned the corner defensively. Like this is the old England.
Yeah.
Just like they just seemed like they couldn't find a structure. They got guys in the wrong decisions. You could easily just find meters around them, and then the problem is it's like when they're trying to do that rush and they then can't scramble. Like for some of this, like
Mm.
England and Steve Borthwick have always struggled with scramble defense, and it's not going to help if you find yourselves with just forwards out in the back line in the last position of going. There's no scrambling. It's like sorry, bud, you're on your own. Or like if guys kick back and you've got Ellis Genge, your prop running back, and your wing is like, okay, good luck, bro. All the best. I'll catch up with you. Where Scotland Basie's got like Ben White steaming past everyone else, and like I think again, like that's just an effort thing. So I'm not gonna panic yet, but I just think with England like, defensively they can't let those things creep up again where it seemed like
Mm.
they seem like they've stopped. I mean, obviously, sort of fun when playing down to 14 men. But then again, maybe you just play someone who's a better winger than Arundell. Unless England's planning playing against Uruguay the next time, so you must go 8 tries then. But it just felt like Scotland just said, "Where's Henry Arundell?" and catch this bomb. Oh, where's he when he comes back? Let's run back this side. He's standing up. Okay, cool. We'll stand up phase until he gets up and just put kicks on him. And now, for example, like if you're playing against Ireland, I mean, who's not firing well, but against if you're Ireland, you're going, okay, cool. Like you still got James Lowe, who's a fantastic chaser, and you still, you got Bella Coon, who's 9 feet tall, and so like you're gonna get in the air this week against him. So that's the problem for England. Like if you're gonna go to a situation where you're gonna have a winger there who seems like was a big liability defensively, and also like in terms of reading the game against, and Ireland's other side you want to play if you don't have Oaks who sort of can't make reads, and also now you've got the threat of an aerial option. But again, Ireland's probably gonna play some. They're not going to play any form 10, so this all could be nothing. But yeah, so it's a massive test for England this week because again they've got to sort of find a way to get the ship going again. They have to win this weekend. But in saying that, it's a
Mm.
massive massive week for Ireland as well because I mean it's just
Yeah.
a huge game because Ireland's like again like what are we boys like we need to sort of come figure out an answer because the first 2 weeks hasn't made sense. So they got to go and figure out like what are we? Tell quickly, is our Six Nations no longer 2 weeks break? 2 weeks break? Is it 3-3 now? Oh, you see now,
Yep.
common sense has prevailed. Or else the English team, I was like, I'm pretty supposed to be a break now, but I am not complaining. Hey, just can't wait for the days they just go. You know what, guys? Let's stop being woke, man. On going 5 straight. No, I'm joking. Player warfare. I could never
The
do.
first top 14 likes that status. But everyone else is like, no, we're not doing that.
Funniest thing, Top
Yeah.
Clothing is probably back next week in at break. Like we go again, boys.
Yeah. That was so wild that the top four team was at a full weekend last week. And I'm just like, guys, your team is literally playing. And you guys are like, nah, we're fine. We still have our 43 league games we have to
Yeah,
do. So
100%.
we have to fit them in some way. But
And some and
just
some of- and some of those guys are probably playing next week and the week off. Oh, you didn't play the first three games. Ah, time you got to cast.
yeah, it's get ready to learn like Perpignan, buddy. Like you're gonna be playing those teams. Yeah, Cooks, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think England needs to throw out everything, obviously. Like even when they're trying to come back with their kicking game, I don't mind that. I don't mind like people saying they were kicking too much. I feel like in some ways they didn't kick enough, but they also don't really give Ford and their playmakers many options of how to break this game up. Because now Arundel's gone. The one thing that he's good at is attack, or at least being fast. So you don't have that now. You've got Dingwall and Freeman. Dingwall's not probably the most attacking centre in the world. He's more of a playmaker, puts other people through. Freeman is playing like a wing at 13. He's kind of just running into like brick walls. Stewart, bless him, like he's getting better at some of the things he's not been good at, but he's still not a real attacking threat at 15. I don't know why. Quick sidebar. Why are we not using Freddie Stewart as a crash ball option first phase? Like he's 8 feet tall. He's over 100 kilograms. Especially, I think there was that one time where they used Finn Smith as a crash ball when he came on because he
Yeah.
was the 12 and then he got turned over. Duh. And I'm like, how about the big guy that plays fullback? Maybe use him as the first phase person. So I don't understand that. But yeah, so I the attack is a problem when obviously you're not playing like you're not I don't think you're optimizing like the right talents to put there. And now it's made worse with the red card. You have six people on the field. So I just think that they need to get that balance right. Like pretty much player 23 has to be either Marcus Smith or Elliot Daly, I think from now on,
Yeah,
because
I
those
agree.
are the two people that you can fit into a back line and they can make work and they can actually help to give some level of spark. They're obviously both additional playmakers. Smith has some pace and he can beat a person one on one. You can then sort of do something to change the game because I think I mean there's many things that are disappointing. Like kicking game, they got absolutely nothing from like literally Roebuck and Arundell didn't catch one kick. So what's the point of having them? Like it's not, and it seemed like they barely like contested for kicks in terms of just trying to tap back and get a retention and all that sort of stuff. So you got nothing from that. Um, you were getting stuff from your scrum, and then when you have the Scotland team on a warning for a yellow card, you decide to kick the ball to touch. Like I feel like people are not learning the right lessons from Rassie. They're just seeing the 6-2 and the 7-1. They're like, when you have a team on the ropes, you the scrum again. Like they shouldn't even ask you if you're taking a scrum again.
Yeah,
Like Peter Steph Dutoy would be like in the ref's ear, be like, "We're taking another scrum now.
yeah,
We are
you
scrumming them
know,
right now."
yeah,
But so it's those things, and it's just they're not there. Like I think all coaches you can accuse them of this. They're not proactive enough. Like Rassie would have changed things by the 30th minute once it was 21, like 10 down, and just been like, okay, Underhill, Pepper, it's not working. Like, you're not bad players, but Underhill especially was just having a disaster class. Okay, Curry, Pollock, you come on at the 30th minute. Or Pollock, okay, we have now this second red card. Let's put you as like basically a floating center, like the Esterhazen role. And Freeman, you can play more on the wing. We can just try to sort of see what a backline can be from there. Because I'm also thinking for England's sake, you've got a pretty good pack. You can probably go with seven forwards effectively and have a whole backline, a whole component of the backline, because especially in Scotland, it's not the forward runners that are going to be the problem. It's the people with the most carries for Scotland are always their backline players. It's basically 10 to 15 will always have the carry. So you want it to be 7 versus 7. So it's those that in-game tactical awareness that I think is a problem. I guess they've acknowledged that the Freeman thing isn't working, so they've moved him back to wing. They dropped Roebuck. I don't think he had a good game, of course, but I think there was a candidate that had a much worse
Just watch your mic there, Thala.
team.
Oh, there, your mic's back.
If England's the team like second or third in the world, they can give Springboks a game in Joburg. I mean, you can't lose to Scotland, honestly. You definitely can't lose to Ireland at home.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's sort of the big thing. Because if you are England, that's sort of the marker you want to get to. Again, I think, yeah, again, like they are a side that's still developing and sort of getting there. But like you're right, like the next step is making sure that you get these. You can't have these performances. And yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like for me, like just being proactive, like that's why like I agree with you. Marcus with the Elliot Daily, I mean your Furbank over there. If you're down by 10, 15 points in the first 20 minutes, like sorry, very short, like you down for the day. Like you're not gonna help us in this cause. Like in us having a big comeback, like we
Mm.
need another playmaker. I mean, I would have liked to see Daly at 15 and or Daly in the mix at first 2 weeks. I just think like if it was anyone built to play in a 6-2, it's probably Elliot Daly. And so I mean that's the interesting part. I mean even like Marcus Smith, but they will be fine. I think they'll be fine. I do think they'll bounce back and beat England and beat Ireland this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Ben Earl, though, had a crazy work rate game. Like, he made 21 carries, like literally double everyone else's. Was still one of the top people for or was the top person for tackles for England at 14. He was just working crazy, but I think it just shows maybe there was
He's
a
so
imbalance in the loose trio.
yeah. No, I mean Ben was like the Rock is unbelievable. Like I mean for me he's probably arguably the best player and he operates on a different level each week. He has felt like at the stage he was playing on his own.
Yeah. And he attended like 19 or won 19 racks as well. So he was just working around. Let's go to Dublin for the Ireland versus Italy game. I think this was probably one of the best Six Nations games in a while. Like just a ding dong battle from both teams. Both teams like trying to like putting it all out there in the attack and trying desperately to get past them. Good defense, good like moments from a lot of the key players. Ireland winner 20 points to 13. We'll get to Ireland. There's a lot of things to discuss with Ireland. But Cooks, from an Italian side, I think you said it earlier. How did you not win that game? Because especially that last few minutes of the first half and first 15 minutes of the second half, you probably had about five opportunities where you should have scored at least once, if not twice.
I think with Italy, like like when you're watching that game, you're going, you can tell like that next step is that win against an Ireland. Like that's that next step. And like, a few years ago when they drew that game against France and you're going, geez, Ireland, I mean, geez, Italy, like, how have you allowed this to happen? I think that's their next step. And you can see it as going against these
Mm.
big sides. You can't consistently get this many chances and not take them. Like that game against the Springboks as well. If you Italy, you're going, God, like, how do you not win that game? Somehow you manage to get 4 or 5 penalties in this coming against Springbok, and the Boxers are dead and buried, but then you concede one or two soft moments and you concede. I think that's been a sort of a theme where they're knocking and knocking and knocking, and then they open the door, they peep inside, and then someone gets too excited and like bum someone, and then they slam the door again. And you're like, guys, you're getting in your own way. Just guys, let's just open the door and I think because for me, like it was just so great to see them sort of take the performance they had at home and then just do it again. They probably arguably played better last week than they did. I mean, they went against Scotland, and you just have to take those chances against a side like Ireland because unfortunately, like you look at the last try Ireland scores. I mean, that's them at their best. Beautiful hands, getting out wide, forwards coming. Like they're good enough to get that right once in a while, and obviously it's been ding dong, but they could not get that. Unfortunately for Italy, is that when that happens, they'll do it after, and sometimes it just feels like I'm glad, which was surprised when Ireland got that try. I thought, oh no, I've seen how Italy goes at the end. Then they'll just fall apart now, and then it'll be like 32-10 or something. But then credit to them. I mean, like we'll talk about the forward pass or the lack of physics of being applied by the TMO. But like it's just like one of those things where like for Italy, like I mean, it was an incredible performance, but they are getting to that point of going, these performances now. You've come very close against Ireland. You've come very close against Springboks. A few years ago, you came very close against France. These close calls have got to come right now. And you've got to find time situation because every single time in the three losses, they've had incredible patches of momentum where a better side and where they're trying to get to, you sort of kill that game and you sort of get one or two tries. And because the chances they got against Ireland, Tyler, yo, massive. You're thinking, come on, Oaks, like how, like you gotta leave here at least with two tries, and then it becomes a completely
Yeah.
different game. You put some doubt in Ireland, who's not feeling great at the French game. What's going on? But then now they sort of get back in the game. But great game of rugby. No, I agree with you. Fantastic game of rugby.
Yeah. Look, I think Italy's only the last key to them being like a team that can beat like the top five teams in the world, they attack. This weekend, 9 entries, zero point 0.7 points scored per entry. So it shows like their attack is just not, it's not happening for them. And I think they're a team that relies a lot on strike plays. And if those strike plays don't score in the first 2 or 3 phases, they kind of get a bit headless and are not sure what they need to do to break down a team. And I think it's, I don't even think, usually sometimes I'm like, I don't know if Gabisi and whoever's the scrum half, like obviously it was for sure this week, are managing it well. But I think they were doing the best they can. It's just a lot of errors from their outside backs. Like Manuel had a fantastic game, but he also conceded 6 turnovers from just, knock-ons or forced passes, a debatable forward pass, as we talked about. I think Ioane and Lina also were dropping a few balls that they didn't need to as well. Like just knock-ons and, like you said, almost tripping over themselves to take the opportunities that are given to them. Like everything else was pretty much perfect from them. Like their scrum put Ireland in a world of pain. Like seeing Dan Sheehan and Tai Furlong literally fly like they were, like that was just insane. And they've got like I think even their bench front row, which isn't like the most well-known players, like a lot of them I think play for Zebre or like second stringers for Benetton. They're the ones like giving a pretty like experienced Irish reserve pack problems. Defense is fantastic. Like that, Lorenzo Canone made 5 dominant tackles. Zamboni made 4 dominant tackles. Like defense isn't really a problem. Like I think they just got it was like that try that Balakun scored was pretty much after they attacked for about 15 minutes and got nothing. Ireland just were able just to capitalize on that. They got the ball, they moved them through phases, got their quick ball, got their passes, and they just broke them, which is credit to Ireland and credit to them for sort of capitalizing on that moment. But I don't even think there was too many defensive problems there. They barely gave Ireland that many opportunities. So like lineout is going well. Kick chase is going pretty well with Lina and Ioane. Like you have Zuliani's Kooks Zuliani might be in the top three for best loose forwards in the competition.
Hmm.
Like the only Italian player better than him is Menoncello right now. Like he's fantastic. So it's lacking nothing but your attack. It's just your attack, and it's them sort of tripping over themselves to score. They did then score one, or thought they scored one, and I guess we can talk about the forward pass now. Yeah, Cooks, we keep having to have this debate or conversation, what, every 6 months or so. But I think Holly Davidson was pretty much like, it's fine. Like, obviously the ball moved forward, but she was happy with the position of the hands. But I think many people make this point, like, it's only because the try or the pass happened on the 22-meter line that I think the TMO was not willing to allow that to be a try.
Yeah, I think it's the frustrating for me thing is like if you're going sort of like where the guy catches it is in front is it's forward. You're like, but that's physics. Like And like there's a video that accompanied where like they throw like 10 passes and where the guy put the hands go behind, but the time the second player catches it, it's the ball drifts in front. Like, but again, that's just physics. That's hence why they go, it's out of the hands. Because that's the best way to judge. Like when it leaves the hands, it's sort of backwards. And I just thought, Jesus is so unlucky. Like, because I think I agree with you, her Davidson, like I don't want her to get flack over it because she was going like I think that like that looks fine. Like both got their hands and it's one of those things where sometimes like like those pauses happen where it's literally on a line. I mean, everyone goes, oh, but look, when he catches the ball's going in front of the line, you're like, oh, it's how the ball travels in the air. Like it's physics. Like you can
Mm.
see when a guy's basically out of the ball, out of the where it's even from out the hands, it goes. So which is unlucky. And it's a massive moment in that game. Because that is try time in Italy, like I mean that's the one big moment. So yeah, I mean I'm not gonna I don't want to bash refs and TMO, but I mean that is a hard one, especially like you kind of sit there and you're going, well, then every pass is forward. Almost every pass will be forward then.
Mm.
Especially if it's from any sort of distance. In Super Rugby, that's
Yeah,
in Super Rugby, like that
that's
is
flat.
flat. I mean that's basically that's miles backwards in Super Rugby. That's not even it doesn't even see a TMO. But the funny thing is, Tyler, no, there we go. Like if these can go forward, like do these guys watch the French games? Because man, some of the passes that get thrown in those French games, the ones like Ireland, like last week, some of those tries, we're just like, oh, we're just playing through balls now. Like, hold up, basically, it's like play on. Like, but that one gets called back. Come on, man.
Also, we need to put this as a rule in World Rugby. Like Brett Robinson, this is your rule. If the try is a pretty try, I don't care what happened. Just
Yeah.
give the points. I do not care what has happened, which pretty much with all the French tries, that's the rule I apply to that. Is like, hey man, that try was beautiful. Give the 7 points.
No, I hear you. I think that's what France gets away with. I mean, and a part of me also does feel like you're gonna try like guys. Come on now. I mean, what's a forward pass here and there when you look at the try of the year? Especially if it's like say week 1 or week 2, or like come like when you get to like week 4, week 5. Okay, I hear you. Or like semis and finals. But come on, in the pool stage, week 1, week 2, let the boys play, Mr. Ref.
Yeah, no, I think this is, yeah, Italy was just really impressive, and I think they should be really disappointed that they didn't get that win. Yeah, we've said Menoncello, Zuliani was great. Ferrari also just, I think, also had three dominant tackles, but yeah, obviously just putting Lauman and whoever was loose head under a world of pain in the scrum. But yeah, Cooks, I mean, Ireland, on the other hand, like, there's a lot of discourse after this game. So should we start with the 10 battle? Like let's go there. Like I don't know, I think we'll probably be on different sides of this. I didn't think Prendergast was that bad. I thought he wasn't good, but I was just like I wasn't like I wasn't because I thought with Ireland's first half, you could just see that people were just not on in sync with each other. Like basically what happened with that try, and actually the try that Osborne scored in the first half, they just weren't finding each other with the pops out and the passes in contact and all that sort of stuff. It just felt like people were just out of sync. And that probably is because there's a lot of newer players in that team. Like it's a newish center combination, newish back three. 9 and 10 aren't experienced because it's Casey and Prendergast. Loose forwards are new. Locks are pretty much old. The front row is new. So it's not like that Island team from the last few years that knows, okay, you stand here, you pass here, you go loop around here. There's 43 options for every player with the ball. Now it's just, everyone's just a bit of a step off. There's too many Ulster players, there's too many Connacht players in the team. So I was like, okay, I don't think Sam was great. The goal kicking did not help him. He was horrible with that for sure. And then Crowley comes on. They score a try immediately when he comes on. I'm like, sure, he did well with that, but I don't think it was too different from the try that they scored in the first half, where they just put a few phases together. Everyone was on the same page and they were able to get there. But yeah, now it's become a big thing. Andy Farrell obviously made the comments of like, you need to like, do people need to support them and just realize obviously they're two young players. And yeah, there's a lot of discourse about it. So I don't know. Like, I feel like one, it's a blessing almost to have two international level fly halves, and Ireland are kind of just blowing this thing up. And yeah, obviously there's a lot of blame you can put on Farrell. Maybe he should have maybe played Crowley more in certain circumstances, but it's not like Prendergast hasn't had good test matches. Like literally last year against England, he was fine. Last year against Australia, he was fine. Like he's had good games, he's had bad games. Crowley's also had good games and also had bad games. So yeah, I think it's become now this whole big thing. And yeah, like him being pretty much booed off when he was coming off for the game at home in Dublin, that's not a good sign as well. So it's made this discourse just crazy right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think like Andy Farrell almost shot himself in the foot because, you look at 2024, you lose Sexton and then you win the Six Nations. Jack Crowley comes down here as a starting 10 and win the 10s the Africa, and you go, you know what? They've got something here. They've got a 10-year something you can work with. Then 2025 is like, I don't like it anymore. Someone you're going same, you're going the Pendergrass route. And now it's in a situation where it's like, I think maybe you should play the other one because Sam Prendergast has not been the best 10 even in his own union, in his own province, in his club side. So guys are calling for Harry Byrne. And I think for me, like how he's managed, like I think, like he hasn't figured out like each role what it feels like, how he wants him to play. It's almost like here's my guy, and I'll just sort of just like last week, Crowley came on in the center, and then this week is like, no, I'm just gonna yank Prendergast off. So like there's no like sort of like rhyme or reason, like you look back like when other teams are sort of like 2 10s, like you look at. I always say one of my favorite Welsh side was when they had Anscombe starting at 10 and Big on the bench. And biggest job was to
Mm.
you coming on the 65th minute and you closing this game out. And with Anscombe, like I remember the test they beat us in I think it was 2018 or 2017. Okay, then no, 2018 was his first year back. And they were a lot more attacking with Anscombe at 10. And then they had a slight lead, and then Bigger kicked everything that you could see when he came on and closed the game out. But you could see like this is the way it's going. Or you look at, for example, like like with the Springboks, for example, when they would have like Marnie on the bench now, or even back when it was like Hindre and Elton. Like when Elton comes on, there's going to be more of a spark. Like the Springboks now, you got Sasha here, you got Marnie, and Russ is sort of gotten it perfectly of going. Sasha's going to be this absolute free spirit, going to carry more and more. And then the second half, he goes to 10, to 15. Marnie comes on in the back line. Marnie, you're gonna speed the game up, but you got the passing ability to let the guys cook. Where with
Mm.
Ireland, I just don't know what the plan is. It's almost like, okay, when I go to Pendergrass, like why is it coming off? Like, hey, Crowley, go do what you normally do. Like, whereas like it's not like I want to say, like, for example, like if it's raining or if it's a game that requires more kicking, I'm happy to go Pendergrass to start because it's a good kicking game. But like with Crowley, I think is more the better all-round 10. Maybe you can have him as your finisher or the other way around. But I think that Crowley is probably for me the slightly better 10. I'm a big Jack Crowley guy. And my frustration with the Crowley is that I do feel like his confidence is taking a bit of a knock because he just probably feels like that Farrell doesn't back him. Because you can
Mm.
see when he got into the shirt, like he played as a guy's like, this is my jersey. I'm the fly half. And now it's sort of that competition, and like I can be yanked at any time. Like one bad game, and then I'm basically on the bench or not even on the bench, and then it's Sam again for the next 6 7 tests. So that's my thing. Like I just like I still think I'm a Crowley guy. I'm on Team Crowley. I mean I do think Brittagra is a good player. I think there is a lot. There's talent there. Yeah. I mean defensively he's not fantastic, but I mean he's not the first 10 to. I mean, Johnny Sexton was no Johnny Wilkinson in defense. I mean, but like there's no, he's not the first 10 like whose defense isn't great, but something can get better. I mean, it's like what 22, still 22, 23, so he's still a baby. So and he needs to just eat like I said. I think he's a Guinness with every single meal he has, so he can bulk up a little bit. But that's my only issue with the fluff crosses at Islanders. It doesn't look like they have a plan. Like it doesn't look
Mm.
like he's gonna play for 60 minutes and then unless obviously something happens, like like even like with Springboks, for example, like if 100 Pollard starts, you know what you know how the Boks are gonna play. And or like, or for example, like if 100 players on the bench, you're going, okay, we're playing one way, and then if you're getting a lead, or if anything happens, 100 is coming on. He's the Iceman. He's gonna close this up. Like like you can see a clear, distinct game plan of going. Even some because now for me,
Yeah.
like, you're right. Like Ireland is cocking this up properly because you got two talented players, and you somehow they're getting worse because like it seems like none of them are thriving in any role because they don't know where they're coming and going. It feels like they're just on trials. Like you got it's like, oh no, the second team okay, no, the first team is okay. No, he's taking my jersey, he's taking my jersey. It's like, like with other sides, when someone comes on, like I said the Marnie Sanchez thing where Marnie knows exactly what role he needs to play when he comes on the field. He knows what job he's doing.
Yeah.
When hundreds come off the bench, he knows exactly I'm the Iceman, I need to close this thing out. So like that's when they like even the All Blacks when they're Carter and and sometimes they'll have like a Aaron Cruden off the bench, like you kind of know exactly what to expect. So that's for me is like what they need to sort out in that debate. It's more never mind about picking at different players, just define their roles and how you want to play when because
Yeah.
sorry because when one comes off and another comes on, they play the same way. Like it's still the same game plan. So you're like there's nothing changing. It's just it's like you can see a shift in gameplay. Like I think our European viewers will be like leave the box alone. But I'm saying if when Sasha moves to 10, I mean to 15 and Mono comes on, there's a clear shift in the box in the way the Springboks play. It's more passing, it's more this it's almost like it's going from 10. Mono's getting it, Mono touching the ball almost after every second or third track, where Sasha's waiting to pick his moments. And so I'm like there is a shift. With Ireland, there is no shift. Like, oh, you're doing the same thing, just a different team.
Yeah. I think it's more difficult to do the whole like Marnie Sasha or Sasha Pollard thing because they're pretty much the same age. Like they're both in their mids or like early to mid 20s, both pretty much starting out in their test careers. Obviously, Crowley has more experience, but I think it's easier when it's like one senior, one junior fly half, and you can kind of mix him in like that. So it's kind of like the Ford Farrell situation where they kind of play similar, but there are distinctions. And you just have to lean into those, like you've said, Cooks. Like, I think clearly Ireland's plan, I mean, we talked about this, I talked about this last week with Sean with the France game. Ireland wants to be a kick chase, a high pressure, a sort of a defensive counter-attacking team. And I think they've realized now with the New Zealand, the Springbok, and the France loss, maybe this is not going to happen for us. We need to maybe go to be a high possession team. Prendergast, I think, is almost perfect for the kick chase, like more defensive game because his kicking game, I think, is superior to Crowley's. But now with the sort of the multi-phase thing, it's a bit difficult because Prendergast isn't, he's a fantastic passer, but he isn't like a running threat himself. So that's where you're like, okay, maybe then this leans more towards Crowley. So I kind of think then they should just try to do both and then just say, okay, we're going to start with the maybe like at home, we are the high possession team with the island of old. We're going to do the multi-phase. Cool. Crowley, you play 60 minutes. Sam, you close it off with your kicking in the last 20. And then away, you can be like, okay, Sam, we're going to do the defensive kick chase, like sort of quarterfinal type of rugby. And then Crowley, you come on if we need pace and we need to try and chase a score, maybe the last, 20 minutes or something. Like, I think you're right about the roles because it kind of feels like both are trying to do what the other one is good at. And it also just feels like, I mean, look, I think both of them had their chances, but both of them have been kind of yanked by Farrell in different places. Like, I think Farrell kind of blames Crowley and actually even Frawley for the 2024 loss against New Zealand. And I think that's where the Prendergast thing kind of started. And then Prendergast was blamed for that France loss last year. Then Crowley came in for the Italy game, didn't do that well. Then Crowley lost against New Zealand. So Prendergast got the last two test matches in 2025 against in November. And I think also being blamed again for almost losing here. So it's maybe going to be Crowley and Twickenham. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of what's going to happen because both of them have what 20-ish caps plus minus. So they're going to still make their mistakes for now. And it's not like everything else is solid around them. Like Gibson Park wasn't good in Paris. He was a lot better off the bench this week. Centers, McCloskey has been fantastic, but Ringrose is not really on form. They're still finding themselves with their back three. Like, James Lowe's come back to form in a good way. Their forwards, it's not happening, man. Like their pack is getting absolutely mangled in the scrums. They just don't really have too many carrying threats. Like it helped now having Conan with Doris, but now your loose forward balance is off because you kind of have them kind of in the way of each other. They're kind of trying to find a six because Baird has been injured, so they're trying Prendergast and Izrichuku. Um, Timony has been pretty good off the bench. Idogbo, I think, had a real impact off the bench and helped with their scrum. Thomas O'Toole's moving to loose head. Yeah, so it even like for the box, I think the best thing for Sasha has been because Sasha and Prendergast are I think the same age. Like they were playing against each other in the under 20s. Sasha's come into a team that's been a World Cup winning team, pretty much secure. There is experimentation around him, but it's with a winning team with, Springboks with 100 caps around them still. Whereas Prendergast has come to an island team that has experience, but they're still so unsure of themselves. They're kind of moving game plans. So there isn't that security blanket around them. So it's just, yeah, it hasn't helped the situation as well. So yeah, this week's selection will be very interesting because if it's Prendergast, like I think Munster might try to join like Scotland or Wales in the country. Like they're gonna just secede from Ireland. And if it's Crowley and then they lose or the game is going really badly against them, now what does that say? Like, where do we go to from here? Because we did this literally last year. Prendergast was bad against France. They dropped him. They played Crowley against Italy. They almost lost to Italy. So yeah, I don't think the 10 is the problem here, but I think it's the clarity is obviously just like an issue, and yeah, I think you're right about that. But yeah, Cooks, look, there's still a lot of other issues. Like I think that's the pack mostly that's just it's not really giving the impact that it's supposed to. And I don't know what options Ireland has for their props because yeah, Furlong was taking a flight there, like their scrums are just not working.
No, it's unfortunately like and there's no answer in terms of like who's next up to come and sort of fix this. That's the hard thing for you, Ireland. I mean, like that scrum is a massive problem, and it's arguably probably the weakest scrum. Well, I mean, I don't count Wales in anything. Those poor guys, shame. But like it's arguably the weakest scrum in the competition, so it's constantly fighting. And you're right. I mean, it's I feel like with Ireland, I think everyone is it's like tell you get a new house and you go, geez, the balcony is an absolute mess, and everyone focuses on the balcony and all like the basement's an absolute mess, and you look there like there's a leak there. But actually, the real problem is like the lounge. Actually, it's also a mess. Like the foundations are a mess,
Yeah.
and the roof's a mess. But everyone's like, yeah, we'll get to the roof, but like, can we deal with the basement because I need to put my golf clubs there. So like it's like that's where like all the spotlights on the 10 roll, but you're going, you have no pack. The pack has got you have no scrum, you're not getting to go forward. Like there's not that punch they used to have. And yeah, and some guys are yes, you got a few youngsters coming there, but like the experienced players, like I mean, I know Doris is coming back from an injury, but like some guys, other guys just feel like they just like Joe McCarthy. Whoa, like it feels like he's fallen off a cliff. Like he's like, where's he been? And like that's like the things that
Mm.
get like James Ryan, guys like that. You're like guys. I mean, if James Ryan not trying to break people's knees. Like, what is he doing? Like that's the hard thing. And then like now, poor like the backs are going like, so what are we supposed to do? So like that's the frustrating thing. At scrum time, you go like going backwards, or are going to win it? And then I mean they've had line issues for a long time. So like that's been so that pack is a real concern. And the thing is, now you're losing around Baird and guys like that. So it's not like they've got numbers just waiting to come in.
Yeah, this England test is going to be. We've already talked about how big it is for England. Like this England test is almost that. Like, okay, are you still part of the top four, top five? Like, you know, pretty much the loser of this game has to sit with the Scotland, Italy, Australia, Argentina table. Basically, like you lose this game, you're not part of the elite teams anymore because this is getting ridiculous. yeah, it's only because England has decided to give themselves the handicap of playing Henry Arundell that I'm like, okay, there's an in for Ireland. Like 43 million box kicks. Funny, ironically enough, playing Prendergast would actually make a lot of sense because of those spiral bombs that he has. Like, target him, have actually, that's more Balogun's side. Have Balogun just run at him the whole time and just get those aerial battles, use that as a way to get the game going. And yes, Freeman's not at center, so it kind of helps with the defense. But yeah, just test Ollie Lawrence with, having to cover and track, like the Irish moves from there. So it'll be very interesting to see how those two teams go about it. But yeah, can we talk about the last like few minutes? So Italy has this attack, and they are so close to scoring. The chip from Gabisi like almost gets to Menoncello's hand, and he's just not able to collect it. They continue to attack and attack and attack, and then James Lowe gets an intercept. He's unfortunately nowhere near fast enough to capitalize and score from that, so he gets caught up. And then Ireland wins a penalty. They actually have a chance at a bonus point, and Jack Crowley he kicks the ball dead. And they show Andy Farrell. He's absolutely livid at that because I mean that bonus point, especially now that England has lost, like that could be the difference between like
Yeah.
second and maybe France loses. They could get themselves into contention again. So yeah, it was such an insane way for this game to end. But yeah, I think big shout outs to actually basically all the Ulster players. They're the ones that have a lot of credit. Like Balogun, I mean, Cooks, we've been on the Balogun train. We've been on the Ulster train. So we are happy our shares are actually starting to appreciate now.
You did James Hume.
McCloskey's playing for
You did James Hume. We need a guy.
just
We
Ringrose, watch out.
need him fitting and firing again. We need a guy in there.
Yeah. Even Mike Lowry, you might be able to get in. But yeah, Balogun was great. McCloskey was fantastic, especially with his try assist. Timoney's been really good off the bench. Izuchuku, I think, was really impressive, especially as a line-out option. And like he's good as a tram line runner as well. So and Thomas O'Toole, I mean, I think that was literally his first game as a loose head. And he was okay, I guess. Like he did decently. So I think the solution here is to make all the Ulster players like they should be starting for the national team.
Yeah, classic. What's that of your old song of the Bulls, Mark Audi Bulla Boca, Mark Audi Boca Bulla. But like, yeah, I agree with you. I just think Ireland for me is such an interesting one. Like, but I think this weekend, totally hit the nail on the head in terms of the way they need to play. Um, but like they have to, like, I just feel like they are holding on to like they're holding on to what they were and those players there, and they're just like there's nothing else they can do. And I'm just like, I don't know if it's a change of coaches, and like not that I'm fighting Andy Farrell, but it's just like
Mm,
there's something's got to change. Like if you can rebuild, rebuild. But now they're sort of like where they could have done that last year, but now they're sort of put themselves in a place where like, well, the World Cup's next year now. Like, so what are you gonna do? Some of you want to let go of, take a bit of pain now
mm.
for future gains, because now it feels like some are just holding on for dear life, and you might hit a wall in a World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, look, in a way, because of this injury crisis, they kind of had to like
Yeah,
blood in some players. So now we've seen Kian Prendergast, Izuchuku play, Dogbo's played quite well. Like, I mean, disappointing, obviously, all the racist attacks he's gotten from that. Like, yeah, this guy's literally the lock that you will never have. You just don't have an Irish rugby, and you're attacking. Like this guy could actually help with like you guys matching up to the Springboks in France, and you
yeah.
guys are racially attacking him. So it doesn't make any sense. So players like that are getting chances. You know, the likes of Van der Fleer have been kind of pushed off. Like Lowe got dropped, but he came back really well. So you have that opportunity now where the older players can still kind of come back in and still be options and maybe be like they can almost be like your whatever version, whatever you want to call your own bomb squad now. Um, Ringrose is, I think, the interesting one because I don't know what the replacement is for Gary Ringrose. Like
I'll tell you
James Hume can't stay.
I'll tell you the replacement is he's playing fullback, Jamie Osborne.
Yeah, but he's been so nice at fullback. And when he's played 13 for Leinster, he's been quite shaky. Like obviously 13 is about, as Tommy Freeman will tell you now, you need to
Yeah,
actually stay and play that position every week. Like, yeah, especially with Ireland and like all the attacking stuff you do, I don't like they need to almost make a decision. And Farrell needs to call Cullen and say, I know you've got Rico Ioane, he can play wing. Jamie Osborne's playing 13 basically from now until the end of the World Cup.
yeah, like him and Ringrose are your 13s. I mean that's what you got to do. But sure, no. Are we
Yeah,
able?
so
I'm just so scared to talk about Wales now.
we have to talk about Wales. We can start by talking about France. So France won 50 to 54 points to 12. They scored 8 tries. I mean, I think they had 10 clean breaks after 15 minutes. Like it was just a ridiculous game for them. Um, they just scored some beautiful tries. Like I think just them having a pretty new center combination with Browbury and Gaiton, and they were still fine. Atisogbe and LBB are really playing well. Like Jalibert, I mean, yeah, and I'm still fighting the Ntamak side of this Jalibert and Ntamak debate, but this was the perfect game for Mathieu Jalibert to show his talent as well. And yeah, look, France. I mean, I think there's not really much you can say. I think France got the bonus point relatively early, and they said, "Okay, cool. Like, let's just keep this at second gear until the end of the game."
Yeah, 100%. Probably the second gear is still good enough to produce some beautiful trials. And I want to touch on Jalibert. What I mean, a great weekend for Cooksy. Finn and Jalibert cooked this weekend. And I'm glad that Jalibert had a good game because these are sometimes the games where he has to maybe Wales, but he gets a chance and then he's sort of like, you're like, oh, it doesn't show what he's fully capable of. And I am enjoying seeing how this because it's DuPont Jalibert partnership is just so different between like DuPont and Intermark. Because Jalibert is like, I'm the creator. Like I'm also the star. Even me, like
Yeah.
at the point, let me like sometimes it's like, brother, you do you. I'm just gonna sit here and make sure that everything else is fine. But Jalibert is like, I need like give me the ball. So it's like interesting way, like and you can see this front. There's a slight shift in the way they've played. So I'm very keen to see like when they get tested slightly more and see like in a game that requires a little bit more control. I think Ireland's obviously was the first game like with a little more control where they lean to, but again, I think you're right. I think they're basically on cruise mode, and the thing is like just from France, like that ability to just some of the tries they can score. I mean, it's it is fantastic. I mean, I'm loving. Oh, what's that lock's name? Oliver's partner. He's been
um, and Giard.
yeah. Oh man, yeah, he is. He has been fantastic, and I do like the fact like it was a big boy, but just great hands. He's offering them something different that they haven't had for a while. He's obviously got Miafo to come and just basically just hurt people, but he's been fantastic. Olivon has just been incredible as well. So there's guys like Jolanch is loving life at 8. I mean, like he looks, but I think like it's so funny when they had Jolanch at 8, for example. I thought, you know what, like yes, with the Aldridge missing, like you're kind of losing. Also, but Aldridge underrated. Like yes, he's a fantastic carrier, but he's also got his good ball and hand skills. But now it's like okay, cool, Jolanch. You just do Jolanch things. You go on the park graph. You got Olivon and you got Gia. Like they will sort of make up that ball playing because others can just draw.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Olivon. Olivon is basically a loser, but Gia has just been man. Like it's just so fun to watch because he does the dirty work, but he's just got such fantastic skills. Gets around the park, and I think France has obviously got a little gem in there in him, and I think if you Gaultier for those first 2 weeks, I mean, bar the what 20 minutes when Ireland sort of got back in the game, you take these 2 weeks, and then I think going forward, I think now it's a perfect platform to have going into the last three, I mean, the last 3 rounds. But oh, man, Thala, LBB is that dog just wakes up and just finds a way to the toilet. I mean, like he's phenomenal. Like every time I watch him play, I'm just like, this dog is just so like it's like we blessed to have like Sasha and like but like he like Sasha, LBB, like guys that get like, Pollock to a certain extent, but obviously he hasn't got like the starts yet. But I mean, using glimpses like they look like they're gonna carry the game forward. Like I mean, LBB just looks like an absolutely bona fide superstar. You're coming off a campaign. You've just come off a campaign where you well no player of the year, and he just comes back and it's just like, yeah, I'm actually I actually feel like I'm actually playing even better this season.
He scored 23 tries in 24 test matches. And yeah, it doesn't look. I mean, Damien Penault fought really hard to get that record of Serge Blanco for most tries scored by a French international. I think it's what, 42? At the rate LBB is going, he might have that by the World Cup. So yeah, he's been fantastic. Atisogbe also is, I think, on 7 or 8 tries on 6 test matches. So he's also gonna be competing for that quite soon. Like that's a crazy combination. And the work they're doing with the aerial game has been fantastic. Like pretty much the reason why Pinot has been dropped is that. And Cooks, I think the one thing we could take out of this game is France have now basically made when you kick at them, if you're not able to get the ball, you're in trouble. Or if you're not able to at least get that person and get them in a ball and all tackle, you're in trouble because they've sort of created a structure where the person that sort of competes for the ball can either catch and then pass it back to someone who can then pass it back to Ramos or Jalibert starting a counterattack, or they can tap it back to then get it to Ramos or Jalibert to start a counterattack. Like they've almost set it up that 4 or 5 players or 3 or 4 players are helping to secure the ball, and then another 4 or 5 players are ready to
Yeah.
get the counterattack going. And it is absolutely dangerous. Like Wales, I mean, yes, everyone knows from the Springboks and the 2023 quarterfinal, France are not good in the air. Like it's not been their best strength. And even with LBB, Natisogbe and Ramos, they're a short back three. So you can jump over them. We saw like me and Adams had a bit of success there. But I think Wales kicked at them 15 times. They retained the ball 3 times, not bad. And 3 other times you can say like France couldn't get a counterattack. 9 times though, out of 15 times, France got a counterattack and made like crazy amount of meters, if not scored tries from that. And it's basically they catch the ball, they pass it out to someone that's free. They also pass it out to someone that's even more free, and it's chaos from there. Like it's literally something that any team that faces France now, you need to be able to get them either get the ball or get them ball and all. Because if that offload happens and it gets to Ramos or Dupont or Jalibert, it's over because you're gonna be now 30, 40 meters down and they're gonna have the opportunity to counterattack from there. And like you've said, Cooks, pretty much all of their forwards are able to help with a counterattack. They can handle, run, pass, do whatever needs to happen. So their counterattacking game from kicks has been absolutely dangerous. And teams that kick a lot or are trying to kick for to regather possession are in a lot of trouble against them.
Because yeah, 100%. Like it's a two pass rule, but the third person that's receiving it is either Thomas Ramos or Jalibert. And those are probably the two last people you want to see getting the ball in space on the counter. Like I mean, Jalibert, I mean, like because Jalibert also is also deceptively quick as well, which sort of gets you off guard. But also like he's a great playmaker. And Ramos has been like I'm trying to think. I mean, it's arguably the best fullback in the world, and he's been in such serious form, and I feel like he's got such more control of the sort of the game plan where it's like it's not just like going it's DuPont and Tamak and then like Ramos does his thing where it's like no like like DuPont is one of those guys. I think it did help last year, for example, when maybe the DuPont injury and then sort of Ramos was sort of the guy that where Gautier was like, but you in charge of basically you are the guy where you need to create something for us. And he's like, and yes, as kamikaze and crazy as he's been, I think that the kamikaze has sort of made him a little. It's become more structured. I mean, that little through
Mm.
ball kick last week against Ireland. It's like, oh, it's Ramos again. Like that's what he does. Like it's not even like a thing anymore. So it's like, but you got that in the chaos. I mean, yeah, but you're right. I mean, that's such a dangerous combo. Like to have him receiving the ball as the third player in space. But again, like you said, with the likes of Oliver Gilia, guys who are good enough when they get put into space, or good enough to make sure the ball gets to the playmakers going. And then obviously then you got the centers and MLBB and Galjon, who's for me is having a very sneakily good Six Nations, and going like, you know what, then you're in big trouble. And then they got quite apparently their scrum was pretty good as well, like who's gonna come in running a great support line. So yeah, like that happens as well.
Yeah, he isn't bad. I mean, I don't even think he's playing at 100% yet. Like, I think he's still kind of finding himself after his ACL injury,
Yeah.
but you just see some moments, you're just like, oh, this guy's ridiculously good. Yeah, let's go to the Welsh side, Cooks. Are there any positives for Wales?
Yeah, it's also like one or two players here and there. It's just like I just feel bad. Like so much you can do when France are playing that well, and they are obviously just a mess. I just think like this weekend for me, for them, their Six Nations starts. Like they had like get rid of England and France and be like, okay, like now our Six Nations starts. But yeah, I tell you, it's just tough at the moment. It's just sad because like you know where they come from, and yeah, like wooden spoon does look destined for them, but like it's just they show glimpses. But again, the start they had, like that's the problem, Tyler, is that they find themselves quickly conceding 25 or 30 points against the best sides, and then yeah, they show a bit of heart, but then you're going until when? Like that's this the frustration.
Hmm.
Like you look at, you know that you know they got decent players there that you know sort of show up, and you go like, you know what, he's got a good game, he's had a good game, he's doing, but like I don't know, it's for me it's not much. Like I'm probably not judging them more after this weekend. Like, sorry, getting 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 England and France is probably arguably the worst way they want to start the Six Nations, because you know it's like maybe you know you get like Italy first up or Scotland, and maybe you know you can do something and then sort of get some momentum, but it's just like bang bang, thanks for coming. But sure,
Yeah. Wayne, I think talking about players that actually played well. Aaron Wainwright was fantastic. Like, I think it was top for dominant carries. Like, he really continues for 80 minutes to offer himself to do something and to try and get some momentum for the team. Um, their scrum was fine. Their scrum sort of survived against France, so that's really good. I think Francis, Thomas Francis, is literally playing in the Pro D2, and he's maybe their best tight head. Yeah, it pretty much ends there, to be honest with you, in terms of positives. Like things are just not going well. Like Adam Beard, like tries to kick a ball down the field. Probably wasn't the worst call, but that ball gets pretty much intercepted by Tsogbe and he scores an easy try. So like things just aren't happening for them. They can't fill the principality anymore. Like people are literally not coming. I think it was 50,000 out of 80,000 people that came. So like they're really struggling to sell tickets for games now. They're it's just now it's that place now. Like I mean, yes, we talk about 2016, 2017 being really bad for the Springboks, but it was only 2 years. Like in comparison, like this has now been a few 4 or 5 years of Wales being
it's like
sinking.
seemingly it's getting worse. Like the losses are getting bigger.
Yeah,
Like that's the thing now. It's not, and like I told him, it's not like it's like you know, you watch last year, like, oh, you know what, it's like a 15-point loss. Now it's drubbings, and they're catching hands
yeah.
with the big size, quite a few.
Like, yeah. And I think Chris Ashton made this point, like Wales actually needs to be in the not in the Nations Championship, but like the one below it
Yeah.
just for a year so they can just figure themselves out, which I don't think is the worst idea because I just am not seeing where they get wins against like tier one opposition right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what Wales is even competent at, never mind good at. So
I
like
know
defense is not happening.
I know Wales get a win when they play Argentina after Argentina beats the All Blacks. Anyone can beat Argentina.
Or after Scotland beats England. Like those are their
Yeah,
two chances
exactly.
basically.
These are their best chances. That's exactly the game you want to play.
Yeah. So look, I think for Wales, I'm gonna give them like almost like a passing grade from last week because last week they had like 16 penalties conceded and like their tackle success was like I think in the 70s. Like tackle success wasn't much better, it was 76%, but it's France. Like if you make more than 50% of your tackles and you're this bad as Wales, I'll take it. And they only conceded nine penalties and no yellow card for 10 Plumtree. So let's take those wins. So yeah, look, just be competent against Scotland. Just make Scotland doubt themselves. Like make it last 20. It's somehow still close. It's in Cardiff. Like the roof is closed. Like, yeah, maybe then actually keep the roof open because we now know Scotland can't play in the rain.
Yeah,
So this might be the way to go about it. Yeah, so France are playing Italy. That actually might be a very interesting game now, Cooks, because France actually, I don't think they've. I think France are going to struggle in the scrum because they also have a few like crises at prop. Slimani has to now come into the squad. I think he's barely played for Leinster this season. Like they haven't really been convincing up front, and Italy can hit hard in the scrums. Their set piece is good. Their defense always gets crazy amount of dominant tackles. Like and France just always finds it. It's so funny. France finds it very difficult to play Scotland and Italy, almost for different reasons. Italy because they kind of match their like passion and like just making it big hits. And Scotland because they match their jouer and they just like no, we're the jouer kings, and then they sort of go into a battle for that. So this Italy and then they have Scotland after the break. Like you know, these are the places where France could sort of slip up from like getting a Grand Slam.
yeah, I agree with you. I think Italy test is a massive one, and Italy for them, like it's gonna be interesting to see how they bounce back against of the Ireland loss. I think for them, I think it is they do get confidence playing against France. Like that's so they just know like we're gonna move, the personality, the passion and personality, and now the scrum that Italy's got, and if the attack comes through, like who knows what Italy can do? But I'm giving France the benefit of the doubt, and I think they'll win it actually quite comfortably. I think France will win by 15.
Yeah. I think 15 is probably right, just about right. I can see it being close at half time, but France just finding the gears to get through. Yeah. And England, Ireland, Cooks.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think England at home. I think England will be good enough. I think they'll bounce back, but I think it will be quite tight. So I'll probably go England by 5.
Yeah. I kind of want to say Ireland. I'm not sure why, but I think this could be like Andy Farrell and that Irish team are still good enough to give one of the top five teams a bloody nose. Maybe it's England. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's Ireland by two. But yeah, like I think these are, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how these games go. Finally, Cooks, just on new competitions that have started this weekend. Super Rugby started with a big surprise actually for the Hurricane. I mean, the Highlanders beating Crusaders for like the first time. Actually, it was their first win, I think, since 2024, something like that. Tars beat the Reds. You have Moana Pacifica beating the Fiji and Drua. The Chiefs won a nice tight one against the Blues, and the Brumbies thrashed the Force. Um, yeah, I mean, generally looks like Super Rugby Pacific is doing the things like nice, decent highlights. Only watch the highlights. You know what you're gonna get from them. It's yeah, we're gonna see now how all of these innovations and laws and them basically refusing to do scrums, how that's gonna help them in international rugby. But at least in terms of their domestic rugby, it's still keeping things quite entertaining.
Yeah, I mean it's great for the Highlanders. I mean, if you're Jamie Joseph, I mean that's exactly what you want when you're trying to get the All Blacks job. Just be like, just beat the side. And like this is just be like, wasn't this Razors boys? Did I just beat Razors all boys? No, like, but I'm actually really stoked for the Highlanders. But then I think the rest, you're right, same old, same old. I think Blues, Chiefs is always obviously a cracker and both sides, and the Chiefs getting that win there. So yeah, not too much surprises. Nice to see Super Rugby back underway, and like the first like it's a weird Super Pacific like it's almost like catches us off guard because you have Six Nations like URC now like this week I'm like okay, it's back. I need to get it back into my Friday mojo again. Like that's the thing. I need to get back into my morning sort of mix of going okay cool. I'm watching Super Rugby in the morning before this
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
like those in every game in one stadium and then there's games at 3 in the morning again.
they're coming. They're coming. Don't worry about that. Like, I think on the other side, then on the South African side, we have Varsity Cup that started also on Monday. I know you're doing some work for that. Like, I'm now also having to get back to my Monday routine of okay, like Monday night you can catch some rugby. Cooks, can you quickly explain all of the new laws that are happening, especially for listeners maybe not from South Africa?
There's the law where I think I need to pull it up because it's like where you can, for those who love American football, is like you can instead of having a conversion, you have a chance to sort of almost double up, and basically you can go for it. You get the ball on the 22, and I think you have three phases.
There's 2 minutes.
You have 2 minutes to try and score a try. And if you score a try, you get double. So you can leave with 14 points, which is Varsity Cup in an absolute nutshell. Like it is, you get rules and you get Varsity Cup. And then also,
The super the Super Rugby of South Africa.
yeah, it's like 2 minutes, then you can score, you get 14 points. And then also, if the defending team gets an intercept, they've got a chance to go and score and run and go and score as well. So then you can score a try and concede one without no kickoffs happening.
That's insane, actually. You know what? At least with Varsity Cup, I expect them to come up with these crazy calls, like not like a serious professional competition like Super Rugby. So, let the kids cook. But yeah, it must be so funny, like when these players now come back to like the provincial sides or to the baby box, and now you have to like spend like 2 weeks to tell them, guys, we're not doing this 9 point try thing or
Yeah,
this,
like
you can get like the extra points.
when teams kick at you, like kick it back. Like it's like can you kick it back for a little bit? Like we're not just gonna go and try. Be like, yeah, but coach, if you run it back from 80 on 22 in two phases, we get 9 points. They'll be like, my man, you kick that thing in the stands, please.
We really should have had such a play Varsity Cup. Imagine him with all of these rules.
Oh,
Like he would have been an absolute menace.
he'd have been a menace. He'd have been a menace to society. Him and Sasha Anwar Khalant.
No, man, Bookie played a little bit, right? I think he played for Tucks, didn't he?
You could have had a bit of a go. So imagine like do you think a team could like because like listen, I mean the concept of not going for it is funny. Like in like American football, like where it's going the other way with teams, you just like can you go back to kicking field goals again? And like it'd be fine in Varsity Cup, you just like, yeah, we're just not gonna cook conversion. Like, but if like because like my thing is like sometimes it's like a momentum thing, but like also if you go, guys, I'll kick a con kick. So we might as well just keep jolling.
Yeah, if you have like a Moni or I guess Sasha these days that isn't making their conversions, like it's
Just
gonna
like
be so fun.
He's like the poor forwards like you score a maul truck. I'm like, okay, we're attacking again. I'd be like, no, can you kick this thing for the corner? Can you kick a conversion over like a minute's rest?
I have so many questions about, okay, what if there's a penalty? Does that also count in your 2 minutes? Like, can you kick that penalty to touch? Like, or is it over?
I
Like,
think a penalty. I think you may have. I think you. I don't know. I think it's a penalty. You play stops. You go again. But like, I know if you knock it on, then obviously it's done.
oh, okay. I mean, okay, that makes sense at least. But yeah, that's still insane. But yeah, like in terms of scores for the Varsity Cup, like yeah, UJ had a quite a big win. Um, Playing against Emirates, you had 61-41. Tux beat Ikes 38-22. The champions were beaten. Marty's lost 50-39 to Shibblers. NWU lost 59-42. The problem is I can't even look at these scores and say, oh, you lost by one try because who knows?
No, those are Voice Cup scores. Like you need at least 35 points to sort of think you're going to win a game. To think you're going to win the game.
Imagine saying that, being like, guys, if we keep it up, if we keep it under 50, we've done pretty well,
Yeah, we've
actually.
done, we've done 50 well. We're defending well.
Yeah. Literally, Ikes are the only team that didn't get a bonus point yesterday.
Yeah.
Everyone else got at least a try or bonus point or less than, okay, no one got a less than 7 bonus point. That doesn't happen here. But Ikes is literally the only team with zero points now.
Oh man, Varsity Cup. I do enjoy it though. See, it's one of those things you got to take it at face value, like what it is. This is how I feel about Super Rugby.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit worrying that a professional team is doing these things. Like you would hope that, you wouldn't be doing this if you're actually trying to play professionally. But yeah, you know what? I mean, let's have the New Zealanders and Australians cry now after World Cups and saying again like they're being cheated, whatever the case is.
Yeah, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
all in for it.
Yeah. Okay, Cooks, I think let's end it there. That is everything that's happening in the rugby world. Like, there's so much rugby happening now. So thank you so much for listening to this Rugby Bits podcast. Please like, share, subscribe to this podcast, wherever you find this podcast, either on Spotify or on YouTube. Follow our social media pages as well to find out any updates. And yeah, we have a lot of rugby to look forward to. We have the third week of the Six Nations. We have Super Rugby. We have Rugby European Championship happening right now. We also even have the South African Women's Provincial rugby happening now. I mean, the Bulls Daisy absolutely thrashed the poor Border Bulldogs by 100 points to nil. But yeah, lots of rugby to look forward to, lots of news, and I'm sure bits that we're going to do there as well. So yeah, catch us next week to find out what's happening. Bye bye, everyone.